CTV News has learned that 19 Canadians, 6 women and 13 children, are being brought to Canada after more than 4 years in a Syrian detention camp. Sources tell CTV the women and children were removed from that camp on Tuesday evening. It's one of several detention centers that house thousands of suspected ISIS militants and supporters. Canadians in the camps have been fighting to come home, though, for years, and some already have and face charges here in this country. For the latest on this all, we're joined by lawyer Lawrence Greenspon. He represents some of the families involved. Mr. Greenspon, good to see you. Thanks for making the time.
Thank you for your interest in this story.
We've been talking about this for years. I know that there have been some cases of some individuals who have been brought back, but this is certainly a very big group. What prompted this, do you think?
Well, there's no doubt that what prompted it was the failure of the Canadian government to take any steps to facilitate the repatriation of Canadian citizens being held arbitrarily and indefinitely in detention camps, women and children. And because of their failure to act, we brought an application to the federal court on behalf of all of these Canadian women and children in the detention camps, and went to a federal court hearing. And the day before the decision was going to be rendered by Mr. Justice Brown of the federal court, we were able to reach an agreement with Global Affairs Canada to bring these 13 children and 6 women, Canadians all, to bring them home.
What can you tell us? And my understanding is, according to my colleague Judy Trin, they've landed in Germany, and then from there they're going to be basically brought to various cities in this country. What's your understanding of the efforts involved in doing so, and what can you share with Canadians watching tonight? Because what I remember from the government expressing opposition over the years is they said, we can't do this. We don't have a consular presence there. We don't have the ability to send officials safely to bring people back.
And yet, and even today, the Prime Minister speaks of the volatility of the situation. And yet, despite that, the Canadian government has so far successfully, and I mean that without incident, has managed to repatriate 4 Canadian children and 3 Canadian women. Other countries, more than 25 other countries, have repatriated not several, not hundreds, thousands of their citizens without a single incident involving those citizens and their repatriation. And the very simple reason for that is because this is an unusual situation. The Autonomous Administration Northeastern Syria, or ANS as we refer to them, have asked the countries of the world to come and please take your nationals. So it's no surprise that Canada has so far managed to successfully repatriate 4 children and 3 women, and it'll be further no surprise that these 13 children and 6 women come home to Canada, again, without incident. Despite all of the talk about security problems and operational problems and all the other things, the governing authority that has de facto control over the prisons and detention camps in northeastern Syria has said, please come and take your nationals. This is an unusual situation, and there's no reason why the Canadian government has been so slow to repatriate these Canadians.
Let me ask you about the men, because they're part of, my understanding is the decision from the federal court as well, but the government is appealing that portion of it. Where do things stand there?
The government has appealed the Justice Brown's ruling in regards to the 4 men who are Canadian men in prison. They are there without any charges. They're there indefinitely. And I describe that as the epitome of arbitrary detention of our Canadian citizens. That matter has gone to the Federal Court of Appeal on an expedited basis. We had the initial hearing in Toronto before the Federal Court of Appeal. We are going to be submitting some supplementary written arguments, and then the court has indicated that they will do their best to render a decision as soon as possible.
Can I ask you, I think what I'm betting a number of Canadians watching this are thinking to themselves, hey, I remember the government warning people not to travel to ISIS-dominated regions. I remember, the coverage of people who were sympathetic to what ISIS was fighting for, and the destruction that ISIS wanted to see happen. And I'm not sympathetic necessarily. Let's remove children from the equation. But to the men who went there, or the women who supported them and went there as well, what is your response to people who express those concerns? And the government, who had years ago also said, if you go over there to fight with terrorists, don't expect us to bring you back.
Right. Well, there is no question that, as far as I know, all of these Canadian detainees went there voluntarily. The real question is, okay, they went there voluntarily. We don't have any evidence whatsoever. There's not even been allegations that any of the men or women, and this is what was found by Justice Brown, there's no allegations even being made by the government that any of these individuals were either fighters or supportive of ISIS fighters. So we start with that, and then we end up with women and children in detention camps for more than 4 years, men in prisons for more than 4 years with no end in sight. They haven't been charged with anything. And to me, it's completely unjust and un-Canadian, quite frankly, to say, well, they went over there voluntarily, let them rot in prison, even though they haven't been charged with anything. It's easy to say when, oh, they went there on their own, so let them get back on their own. But the reality is that these are Canadian citizens, and they're rotting, i.e. dying, in prisons without a charge, without any possibility in sight of a trial. We have a responsibility, at least our government has a responsibility, to uphold the Charter of Rights and Freedoms for Canadians, no matter where they are in the world. And in this particular situation, the governing authority is saying to us, Canada, amongst the many other countries, come and take your nationals home.
Okay, Mr. Greenspon, I'm out of time. Thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it.
Thanks for your interest.